Hello, and thank you for joining us for another segment of Supreme Feminine Essence, the Gifts You Were Born With. I'm Saenz, I'm your host. And with me this week, ladies, we are so excited because we have a special treat here. Jonathon Aslay is a relationship coach for women. Isn't that cool? So it's going to teach us, well, we already know, he's going to help us dig down and remember how to understand men now, which is also his website and his business name, understandmennow.com. And we're going to talk to a specialist about men. So thank you, Jonathon, for joining us.
Well, thank you, Mia. This is so exciting.
It is.
I'm so happy to be part of this group, and this can be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you're going to have thousands of women staring at you. What's more exciting than that, right? Awesome. So, Jonathon, can we get in with your story on how you discovered this field of working with women instead of with men, because that's so cool. I love that a man is working with women, just like I love it when women decide to work with men.
Sure. You know, I've got a unique story. I went through a divorce back in 2005, and thinking that, I'd find the love of my life, I started internet dating. And to be honest, I got kind of addicted to it. I was talking to women all day long, hours upon hours, way into the evening, instant messaging, text messaging, conversation, because I thought I was going to find the one. And I say that because there's kind of this belief that you can go online dating and it's just, you can just order up exactly what you want. And I was in for a surprise. And what happened was I met fantastic women, but something wasn't quite right. And what I realized, what wasn't right was me, okay? But what was happening, I'm creating these amazing relationships, just talking and sharing experiences, that pretty soon some of the women would reach out and say, Jonathon, I've got this date with this guy. Will you check out his profile and tell me what you think? So I check out the guy's profile, kind of give my 2 cents, and they'd say, I've been talking for a week. He's nothing like you described. I said, go on the date and tell me what happens. They go on the date. The date would end. Car door would close. Frantic text message in bold letters, Jonathon, can you talk? And we get on the phone, and they say, he was exactly the way you described. And I realized I had a knack for helping women understand what's going on inside the male mind. So I put together, I wrote my first book called Online Dating Secrets Revealed, put together a website, and pretty soon I found my passion helping women understand men, attract love, and eventually creating partnerships. And I'm so blessed to be following my passion in this position.
That's totally awesome. That's totally awesome. I did online dating in 2009 and 10, and I did meet a boyfriend. He was fantastic. But otherwise, out of the 5,600 men that approached me, and out of the 100 that I interviewed, as I call it, and, well, actually I interviewed thousands. I think I dated 100 of them before. I was like, okay, I'm through. I found that a lot of the things that we're going to talk about today, I found through online dating. I found mostly that, and if I was single again, I might do it again. I don't know. But I found that most men really just sought me personally out, and I'm sure they do from reading all your stuff that I've read on Facebook and in your newsletter and stuff, which, ladies, this is a great newsletter. You've got to sign up for it. Because I've been a relationship coach. I just want to throw this in. I've been a relationship coach, and that's why I became a self-love teacher, was to understand the depth of loving yourself to bring out a relationship coach. Or bring out the relationship. So for me to say that Jonathon's great in his work, that's really something, because I spy on the other relationship coaches, and I just look at them and I'm like, okay, bye, but I love your work. So
Thank you.
You're welcome. And it's amazing. I found that they wanted to get into my pants and then leave, so they would men are driven by sex.
Yeah. Why is it such a surprise to women?
But what I found out through Jonathon, and he doesn't know this because I've been reading his stuff for a couple years, what I found out from Jonathon is if they're not ready to settle down or to commit, they're just not ready. And that's why they act like little boys. But, okay, so, because I don't understand the male mind at all. I understand my mind. So this is why I love your stuff. So share with us, why are men commitment phobic? Because they're not grown up and they're little boys?
It's such a tough one because it's the one thing I hear all the time. They're emotionally unavailable, they're commitment phobic, and I think there's a lot more to it. Genuinely, men do want relationships. They want to be connected. They truly do. And I think when we look at men in different segments of their lives, I want to say there's a big difference between men in their 20s versus the men that they're in their 40s and 50s. Because in your 20s, you're kind of a blank sheet of paper. You're writing your life out. So lots of possibilities when it comes to relationships. But once you get into your 40s and 50s, it's a whole different ballgame because your life is kind of, there's stuff going on. Mm-hmm. And one of the challenges in dating is blending lives. Mm-hmm. So while a man might find a woman who he's attracted to and there's companionship and attention, affection, and regular sex, there just may not be the perfect blend going on. Maybe the compliment isn't just right. So what happens is he's thinking, well, I like her a lot or I love her a lot, but there's something not quite right. So they go, you know what, let me just shift and, maybe this relationship isn't right for me. I'll move on to the next one. Well, a woman will go, oh my God, he was commitment phobic. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's a really fair assessment for men. Mm-hmm. It might mean that he's looking for the person that's the right complement. It might not have been the right fit. Doesn't mean that they're commitment phobic. Right. So I just want to put that in everyone's consciousness that, it's a tricky match to put, to mating today. There's a lot of moving parts. In the past it was really simple. It was really simple. Women were treated as property and they were given away to men, and that was a relationship. That was a marriage. Now we have choice involved. And what happens is we've got a lot of moving parts. There's love attachment styles. There's the 5 love languages, and if you're seeking them, it's can you blend lives, and do you have an ex-spouse that you're dealing with, and childhood wounds and limiting beliefs, and you mix all this together like a cocktail, and it's just getting it just right is a little bit complicated.
Yeah, it truly is. But I just now, for the first time, understood that long-term relationship before the one that I'm in now and married, that I'd never realized that it's because I could tell because we're still very, very close as friends, but I never understood why he kept saying, it just isn't right, Mia, it just isn't right. And I never understood that. And to me, it was like, well, what the hell isn't right? This feels fantastic to me,
Yeah.
And it did to him, too. Otherwise, there wouldn't be that love and we wouldn't be friends still. But I guess you're right. It has to just be for some...
Well, men have to surrender to the we. And that's kind of a challenge for most men because we're so fixated on the desire, the desire for freedom. Mm-hmm. So what makes it right for a man is when he's with a woman who allows him to be his individual and allows him his freedom. And because most women kind of approach the relationship like locking them in in chains,
right.
and and kind of constricting him. But if a man feels he's free, he's not going anywhere. Now, I'm not talking about free to go sleep with other women or to go party with his friends all night. He just doesn't want to feel like he's constricted. Mm-hmm. And a lot of women in a relationship immediately want to attach labels to the relationship and put walls and restrictions when if you allow for natural timing, chances are if a guy is happy and he's accepted for who he is and you guys are having fun, that's 90% of the battle, And so long as you have good chemistry and good sex together and you're friends, this is every man wants that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But then also there's the blending of the other life issues that you mentioned.
Well, that's one of the reasons why there's complications, and I think it's important to really know thyself. What you're teaching is all about knowing thyself, because when you know yourself and what makes you happy, you meet someone who goes, oh my God, there's great chemistry, but we're not a really good match. You might say, I'm going to pass on that because you're not going to let chemistry rule the relationship.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest mistakes today is that most people allow the chemistry to rule the relationship and not the compatibility. Compatibility is far more important than chemistry. Don't get me wrong. They're equally as important.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you can have the best chemistry in the world, but if you're not compatible, it's going to not work.
Right, except for the sex. Yeah.
And we men are happy with that. We're happy with that.
That's a free gift.
It blows my mind find when women say, oh my God, the guy broke up with me 6 months ago, but he keeps calling. Why is he calling? Because he wants sex.
Yeah.
You know? Why is that such a surprise?
Right. Well, you know, you guys are teddy bears, so it's okay.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody asks you, where are all the good men?
Oh, where are all the good men?
Yes, where are all the good men?
You know what? See, that's one of the...
They're everywhere.
I get that question. You know, where are all the good men? As if they're hiding something.
they're under the freeway.
You know, they're in Tucson, Arizona, all of them.
Exactly.
You know, you got to fly there if you want to meet them. Yeah. You know, good men are everywhere. And I think you have to recognize that what does it mean? What does a good man mean? And I think what's most important is to find people of good character. I think that's what represents a good man. Is someone who has character, that their word is their bond, that they live by integrity. That, to me, is a good man. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of men who maybe don't subscribe to that. Yeah, I get that. Those are called players or scam artists or, you know, narcissists or whatnot. But there are other men out there that are just struggling to find themselves. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean that they're bad guys and they're good men. They just may not have clarity on what they want. And so when you don't have clarity on what you want, what are you going to attract? The guy who doesn't have clarity on what he wants. Mm-hmm. I think that's what's so important. In fact, one of my teachings is what I call creating a love mantra. And it's getting crystal clear on what you want. And when I do this exercise with clients, I have them do their own version. And I kind of review it with them, and I go, well, this is what's, I don't want to say what's wrong, but why it won't work. And then we do it my way, and they go, oh my God, this is like a lightning rod. And then all of a sudden, it's putting out a frequency out to the universe so that calls that guy in. So you don't have to do any of the work. Once you do my love mantra, you've done it, and the guy's just going to come to you because you put it in such a way that he can hear it. See, I help clients, you know, craft their love mantra, craft their desired relationship so a man can hear it. Good. And oftentimes women are operating from their perspective, and I turn it around.
Okay, awesome. Wow, that's really, really important. Because I know that I used to teach bringing in your mate, you know, about that type of stuff, but we would write it down and go over it, and I actually attracted, my husband is everything on my list. Shockingly, you know. There's one or two things that I'm like, well, gosh, I wish it could expand more this way or that way. But, you know, I mean, that's for creation now to create, right?
Yeah.
I think that that's wonderful that you do a mantra with them. And I'm sorry, but the fan is just, it's hot today, and the fan is just blowing my hair all over. So sorry, everybody.
I had to close my window because the gardener was out there, so I'm sitting up as well.
So I'm like, woo, all over. Okay, so this is one that us hot women really want to know. And we're all hot. We're all just like men. Okay, first of all, women are like men in the sense that, as you were saying, that they're working on their own issues. We're working on our issues, so let's cut each other slack. But here's something that some feisty kitten-type women want to know. When is it time to have sex? That was always my question. I used to always ask other relationship coaches because I never did. I did what felt right. I never did what, you know, what the standard 3.5 or 6 dates or 6 months or 3, you know. So what's your say?
Okay, so we're talking right now to those who are single and dating, you know, because obviously if you're in a relationship, every day is a good day to have sex.
That's true.
But I think when you're single and dating, I think it's really important to, well, let me backtrack for a moment. You know, whether you have sex on the first date or not, I'm not here to judge. Mm-hmm. You know, there have been wonderful relationships created from having sex on the first date. However, oftentimes that rarely works out, okay? I mean, I don't know the statistics, but I'm going to say 1 out of every 1,000 of sex on the first date actually turns into marriage, okay? Again, I could be wrong. I don't know the statistics. But when I'm coaching clients, what I think is most important is to follow a simple principle that I have, and that's called CARE, C-A-R-E. And first off, have sex when you're comfortable. That's the C, okay? When you really feel comfortable. Sex, aware of his intention, you know, be aware of the consequences, aware of the consequences. Because you could have sex with a person and they could never call you again. And if that's going to trouble you, then you have to be aware of that, okay? I think the third piece is the R. real. And that's know his real intention. Okay? You really don't know someone in 1 or 2 or 3 dates. So how can you have sex with someone where you don't know their real intention? And then lastly, the E is exclusivity. I'm a believer that if you're going to have regular sex with someone, then it's critically important to bring up exclusivity. And that's my personal belief system. But and the challenge is, look, you can ask for exclusivity on the first time you have sex, but it really only matters if he agrees to it by the second time you have sex, okay? Because you have sex the first time, never see each other again. What's really important about exclusivity is that if you're going to have ongoing sex, that it be exclusive. Now, I teach my clients something I call the 10-date rule. Now, the 10-date rule doesn't mean waiting 10 days to have sex. I mean, now, most people are brainwashed to have sex by the 3rd day. But my 10-date rule is more to do with men will typically want to become want you to be their girlfriend and to become your boyfriend by the time they reach the 10th date. Okay? It's just, if a man pulls out 6, 7, 8, 9, gets to the 10th date, chances are you're going to be in a relationship. So the real critical time is that 6th to 9th date. Okay? And, and usually men won't commit to a relationship until they've had sex. So I'd say start thinking about being intimate once you've established that you're comfortable, that you're aware of the consequences, that you know his real intentions, and that you could discuss exclusivity, and that should happen between the 6th and 9th day, give or take.
So exclusivity does not mean that you're boyfriend and girlfriend, it just means you're exclusive sexually?
At least that's the start, okay? Because a lot of times men are reluctant to put labels on the early stages of dating. They don't want to be boyfriend and girlfriend yet. Right. Doesn't mean that it's not, but if you're exclusive sexually, that's actually a greater commitment than calling and labeling it boyfriend and girlfriend. Okay?
That's true.
And I guarantee you, if he's having fun, he's being accepted for he is, and you guys are happy together, he's going to be your boyfriend.
Okay. I so love the whole relationship thing. It's so stimulating and so much energy around it. It's very, very cool. It really is. It makes us all very, very happy when we're in it, doesn't it?
I'm fascinated with human bonding. I mean, absolutely fascinated. I mean, I was an insurance broker for 20 years.
Wow.
Went to divorce, was unhappy, started dating, and I went on over 300 dates in the course of 6 years. So I went on a lot of dates, and I was fascinated with how people mate. Why some work and so many end or fail for whatever reason. So I'm fascinated with this, and this is one of the reasons why I love helping women understand men, attract love, create partnership. I know it as your guys fly into the male mind, and I'm a big heart protector for women because I want to help them avoid the guys who are, either boys or immature, who are not ready for a relationship, and really spot the men who are in that space. They're ready. And, we talked about online dating a moment ago. I think online dating is a great place to practice dating. It's not the end-all, be-all, but it's a good place to... When I say practice dating, if you're newly out there, you need some practice. You need to learn how to flirt and kind of brush up on your skills, going out at your second or third chapter of your life, if you will. Because, the random coffee shop meeting, that happens once in a while at the grocery store. But unless you have a unlimited pool of friends, single people, online dating is a great place to at least make new friends, meet new people, have some fun.
Yes.
And you might get lucky along the way. It's one spoke in the wheel.
Yeah. I never thought when I went on online dating that I would make friends, but I have a handful of male friends that are, we went out and it's like, I really like you, but let's stay friends, and then you become close friends. So you're right. It's very cool in the sense that you can meet people for your friendship pool. So
I've got several women, and, when I define the word friends, each person has their own definition, but I have a number of women who I met in the early stages of dating, online, that we still have remained connected.
Yeah.
And I want to differentiate, because a lot of people get hung up on this, they're friends with their ex, or, they still talk to their ex and all that kind of stuff. And really what it is that they're connected. And I'm actually impressed more by people that stay connected than the people that just disconnect and, no more, I think once you make a connection with a person, it's healthy to keep it alive.
Well, because love is love. It just changes form. Yeah. It changes from being in love to just still loving the heck out of them. even when they tick you off.
Here's the deal. It gets tricky when sex gets involved. And look, if men have sex on the brain, if they've dated a woman and, they've connected with them and they haven't seen them in 6 months or a year and they're single and they're horny and looking, they might go for polyfuck, So, really have clarity on what this friendship or connection is all about. Is it just a booty call kind of friendship, or is it, hey, he really wants to know what's going on in my life and he's even there for me when I need him? That's a real friend.
Exactly. It is. You're right. Absolutely. Okay, so how do you get men to open up and to talk?
Oh, my God. How do you get men to open up? Gary Chapman wrote an amazing book called The 5 Love Languages.
Yeah.
And I encourage you all to, Google it right now, click on his website, read about it, and understand the 5 love languages. And one of the things is to connect with men. And I even recommend this in the early stages of dating. Have the guy go to the website. There's even a test to see what your love language is. And have the guy do it. And it's our way that we give and receive love. So, for example, there's words of affirmation, physical touch, quality time, acts of service, and gifts. Okay, those are the 5 key love languages. And so I'm a words of affirmation. So when a woman compliments me and adores me and says little things, that triggers me like I feel loved, right? And that's the way I communicate love, is usually through words. Now, with some people, it might be actions, or it might be acts of service. And here's where the disconnect happens. So let's say a man is an act of service. Like, he shows his love by making sure that there's oil in your car, or, he does something special for you and it's more physical labor. Right. That's the way he communicates love, and that's usually the way he receives love. So if you want to get a guy to open up, first start by learning his love language. That will take huge dividends when you want to enter in a conversation.
It does.
And here's the one thing when you want to get men to open up. Start with a conversation and not confrontation. Dr. Sherry Myers, that's a quote from her, and she talks about conversation, not confrontation. Oftentimes women want to start, a dialogue and become combative, and it's because they're focusing on what they want. And what I always recommend is when you start a dialogue with a guy, think of the win-win first. What's the win for him and what's the win for you when you're having a conversation? And I guarantee if you have that in the back of your mind, you know the win-win, he's more apt to open up than if you become combative or confrontational.
That's wonderful. Absolutely. I love the love languages. In fact, my husband, we were helping a friend of ours do her, I'm not exactly sure. She's a life coach, but she's also a mystic and a healer. And so anyways, we were doing a relationship. She was counseling us for her class, for her graduation thing. And she was asking us about our love languages and all that. And I know that my husband's is touch, I know that very much. And he said, well, it's not in here. He said, they need to add a new one for Mia. And she said, what's that? He said, nurture. She's a nurturer. And I guess that's true. All the men that I've been with, that's the thing, is that they love how...
Nurture is an act of service, usually.
Well, it's also touch, but it's service, and it's admiring somebody, the talking. It's really, I think, all of it together is what nurturing is, because you're giving love on many different levels. And I don't, if I care about you, I'm going to give love to you. Well, if I'm married, I'm not going to give love to you physically, but I'm going to give love to you. If you're a friend of mine, male or female, I'm going to love you in the most amazing way that I know that touches you.
Yeah.
So, and we all have our different, I think mine is also touch, but it's also, for me that I like, but it's also that attention and that time and the words that are put upon me is important too.
Well, I think it's important that people read. This is such a profound book, and you can actually go to his website and get 90%.
It is a good book, yeah.
But I highly recommend, go to the website, learn about it, because when you understand the love languages, the way you connect and communicate, and I'm much like you. I like all love languages. I'm not big on gifts, though. That's like my list, and I'm more physical touch and quality time, and certainly words. Like words is my top. And so it's so important that you're aligned in this way, because I can tell you from personal experience, when you're not aligned, it makes a challenging relationship, because if it's not your nature to give words and it's more your nature to give service, it's going to be a challenge. So I like to hit all five. I think I covered my bases.
Yes. That's a good man. Good man.
Yeah. But it's also important to be with a partner who gets you and wants to communicate in your language. So everything I just talked about, like when I talked about my love mantra, when I talk about 5 love languages, and it's what your teaching is all about, what this summit is all about, is know thyself, know you. What do you want? Start from you. It's always, and here's the thing, I love what I do, but women come to me and go, Jonathon, why is he doing this and why is he doing that? And well, let's turn that why around, and what's going on inside of you. Let's not focus on him, let's focus on you. Right. And, put a big sign in your bathroom and write the words M-E. It's about me and what I'm feeling, not about them. I can give you the why, but it's all turning it around after you.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Right.
Wow, we're almost out of time. Would you share with us your free gift?
Oh, sure. Well, I think we're giving... there goes my computer. My free gift is How to Get Any Man to Open Up, even if you think he's emotionally unavailable. I'm sure there's a button right here to click or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's a 30-minute audio course on what we just talked about, how to get a guy to really open up and start that conversation and get that dialogue going. And I know that can be a challenge for many of you, so check out my free gift, How to Get Any Man to Open Up.
Awesome. Totally awesome. Thank you, Jonathon. And will you share one more thing with our viewers from your heart, please?
Oh, from my heart. I've learned personally in my experience that I used to be a person that just gave love with the intent of getting something back. And that was the way I operated. And it wasn't until I experienced an amazing relationship in my life that I realized love is just that gift you give without any expectation of receiving. And the more you give, whether it's through an intimate relationship, through friends, through family and whatnot, the abundance starts coming in your life, and you will feel, for those of you women, your feminine essence. For us men, we'll feel our masculine strength when we just give from our hearts, and no matter what direction it goes.
That's wonderful. You brought something up that I want to talk about for a minute or two more, if that's okay, and it is about giving from your heart and not being afraid. What would you say to women who have been hurt, or, it could be just the childhood trauma wounds, or it could be relationship adult wounds. What would you say to a woman, and this is also would probably go for a man too, wouldn't it? What would you say to a woman on opening up your heart? How can you surrender to try again?
I was just thinking about this morning when I was taking my walk. It just popped in my head as you were sharing this. It's your love life. Don't make any more excuses. I get we all have a past, but we all have an amazing future ahead. So you can choose to be in your past, or you can focus on the direction you want to go. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I created my Love Monster program. It's so you get clarity on where you're going, and we leave the past as prologue. What you want is where your attention should be, and that's going to be your reality. Focus on what you want and not what you don't have or what's hurt or what's missing.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jonathon, for joining us. Yay!
Thank you. I'm so excited.
It's been awesome.
Rock on.
That's right, exactly. Woohoo! Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you in another segment. Bye.